I think one question that a lot of people might have for you guys is, why exactly have you guys went through this trouble to get all this paperwork and to do all this?
Well, on Hidden Corners, we have a legal aid department that we call Justice For The Innocence projects, to where we do cases pro bono, where we help, advise, consent, and do the research where we think somebody's violations had been violated, civil rights had been violated. In this case, Antoine Doolittle. What started this and inspired us to get involved was, as I said previously on your show, I had been contacted by their family members, Antoine Doolittle, as well as his brother Luther, and what we can do to help try to get some relief for this young man in court. So as we start going through the history of Charleston White statements, looking for an angle in which we might be able to get this young man relief, because as of today, the young man has been eligible for parole since 2006. But Charleston White keep going to the parole board here and making victim impact statements, telling them not to release the young man up under this program with the Department Texas Corrections, which is called IVSS, Integrated Victim Service System, which Charleston White is a member, because it's 3 categories to be a member. You can be the victim, a witness, or a concerned citizen of somebody that's incarcerated, and they will notify you of parole board hearings, transfers to different prisons, anything. So Charleston White is on this confidential list, to which allows him to come because he was a witness for the prosecution, to where he can come and give a victim statement. And so Charleston White has actually been going to the parole board, having this young man still incarcerated. So with the other evidence we have compiled from the film clips, statements, and other things, we have a list of audio and video tape to where he's giving statements that are disproportionate to the information he gave at his hearing. And once again, that opened up exculpatory evidence to where we think that we can take this to the United States Supreme Court as a Brady infraction, prosecutorial misconduct, as well as misrepresentation by counsel. We don't think that they gave this young man the best advice. We think he was railroaded into taking this deal, because usually when you going into trial, you have a witness list of all those that are coming to testify against you. And he told me that he was surprised that Charleston White was coming to get him. And once again, we have to also look at the fact that Charleston White, as you previously heard, say, we killed a white man. No, Charleston White killed 2, 3 black kids' lives by not riding a beef on his case. And we feel that this is an injustice, and that this young man's civil rights were violated. And we have to make a choice between the voice of reason or the voice of treason. And we feel that we have the right to fight for this young man, because his voice is silenced by the prison walls that hold him in.
Let me say this. I got into it on a whole different level. When my approach to Charleston White, and when I started investigating the things that he said, and from where he was in his juvenile detention, and the claims that he made, in the atmosphere that he lived in, it just didn't appear to me that he lived that life. And once I started focusing on how his case came about, and I had a person that was in the police department and had brought up the police report that was redacted, and I came on Capone's show, and I first said that what happened with Charleston White, and when it went down, that I didn't want to get the person in the police department's job put in jeopardy. So we laid on it. So Cam got scared of political corruption or whatever the fuck he was scared of.
I was scared.
And so when I exposed to Cam how we could get back at him and what he was saying, he like, well, man, go somewhere else. We don't know what to do. So in the proportion of us trying to investigate, Melvin did his due diligence, and we came up on not dealing with. I didn't know who Antoine Doolittle's whole name was, and everything that we filed about Charleston White had been sealed. And this is the part of a psych patient. He never really realizes that there's more than one way to enter something. So he was so comfortable at dealing with non-thinkers that, oh, my case is sealed, I got a misdemeanor, this and so Melvin went on to find out on the appellate court, like he said, Antoine Doolittle's brother got in contact with him and started giving information. And when he got the information, we went on to the second phase, and it was able to make this all come to light. And when it came to light, we found out who the real Charleston White was, and found out that, he's been living under the illusion of somebody else. And he's a delusionary, and he's a poor little guy that's trying to be somebody. He want to be a superhero. And it's been working for him. And all these other guys, Hakeem Jackson out of New York, that thought he was such a celebratory, articulate guy, and that Charleston White was some big hero, and he said everything. What was wrong with you? You've been to prison and you got hoodwinked by this little rat nigga. So all of those coons that followed this dude and believed everything he said, and that this was, that's what's on them. But the reality is that he's just a little guy that's trying to make a big move in a world that ain't even his. He talked about this DC Young Fly, and well, you ain't. And they said an OG checks DC Young Fly. DC Young Fly been through more than Charleston White has been in the real world.
And let me reiterate the importance, back to your question of why Charleston White, because Michael Levy's sister, which is Sharice Blood, I've been in contact with her for the last 10 years. She has given her blessings for this young man to be released. He's going back up for his next parole hearing next year in 2023, and for another shot of freedom. And we want to be in a position to, when we go to that board meeting with his family and other people, that we can get this young man to the relief that he's truly deserved, to where a 15-year-old didn't get a chance to live his life. We just feel that at that age, a young man should be given another chance in life, such as Charleston White was, than anybody else. And in fact, if you'd have looked at the show that me and Marvin did when we opened the premiere Gangster Chronicles, but they cut it out, we had been talking about the juvenile justice system prior to this. So this is just a caveat of the work that we do, because we plan on addressing the Texas juvenile system, with this possibly being the face for what we're trying to do to change it in restorative justice, and redefining the community, not only in Texas, but the juvenile system as a whole. We feel that it's 3 areas that need to be addressed when it comes to stopping senseless gun violence. That's the unified school districts, parks and recreations, as well as the juvenile justice system. So this is just one of numerous areas that we address when we look for civil rights violations that affect America.
Okay, let me touch on something real quick. Did you say that the family is okay with this man getting out of jail?
Michael Levy's sister, Miss Blood.
Her name is Sharice Blood. Yes.
The only person showing up to keep this man in jail is Charleston White.
Yes, sir.
So the last hearing that he had in 2006, Miss Blood she said that she forgives him, and she doesn't feel like God should forgive him, and that he should be able to retain his life, and he was detained because of Charleston White. The rat.
Do you know what Charleston White said in these
I wasn't
meetings?
there. Do you know what he said?
No, I don't.
These
Let's
are
find out.
confidential hearings that are kept. The transcripts are set and kept by the Department of Texas Correctional Facilities, and this is also exclusive. The IVSS Club is a confidential, to where everything is confidential. But because we have legal standings within this, we're allowed to get privileged information from the attorneys that also work with us. So we couldn't say, as Marvin said, do we have the testimony or anything, but we know from the tapes that we've heard and those that have given the dispositions, but we are not eligible or qualified to give those out.
This man's earliest parole date right now, as of he's been locked up since 1991. His earliest parole date is 2066.
Okay.
Where you gonna be in 2066?
Probably not gonna be here.
Huh? Ain't that too much for one young black kid? In the psychology of juvenile psychology, it says a child does not formulate a decision-making process until they're 16 years old. So anything that happens with a child and a child's mentality, you can't hold him accountable for at that time. So now you take a 15-year-old that 4 days later he turns 16, and you give him this much time on a murder that it's not like he did not do it, but what was the element of what was he thinking and what was his upbringing that brought him into this situation. And probably he wouldn't have had any of this type of time had not been for Charleston White testifying against him.
Yeah, I could definitely see that this
And
guy
also-
has did his time, and you know what I'm saying. I don't know,
And
what he's been
also-
like in jail, but he definitely probably definitely sounds like he's deserves some sort of second chance.
And also because of Charleston White sworn testimony in court, to where he was making statements like after Doolittle did the murder, he didn't show no more remorse and all this. The way he explains it, those add on to mitigating circumstances could also hinder him. So his testimonies and what he's been saying, these type of things add on to what they would call, what is it, mitigating circumstances?
Charleston White testifies in court that he tells you that he gave Antoine the gun and told him to shoot him, and they laughed about it on the way leaving. His testimony in court, it says that Antoine told him, give me the gun. He gave him the gun, and Antoine shot Michael Levy. When they were leaving, they asked him, why you shoot him? He said, he'll know better next time, and he laughed about it. That's his testimony in court. Contradictory what he says on podcasts, that he was the brains of he took everybody to do everything. So why didn't you get time for being the head of the crime?
Yeah.
So this little man is more of a psychological deficiency in his life than it is really malice account. He wants to be famous, and he's got this fame and glory, and it's good. But his time is up now. The truth is being told. Charleston White's been faking a gangster by reading books and talking to other people. He became a Crip, and a authorized Crip, through Melvin Farmer. And nobody know him in LA before that. And then nobody know him after that.
Wait a minute. Charleston White was claiming to be a Crip?
See, what y'all don't know is,
You didn't know that he learned how to,
At that age, at the age that he met you?